Welcome to the Geek Easy, my fellow geeks, where tonight we will be doing another issue, episode of Frightful Features, where I will be reviewing Fright Night 2. I don't have a DVD of this. Cannot get myself an English copy in DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that without having to pay ungodly amount. I just looked online and it's like $70 for a copy. So I watched it on YouTube. So grab yourself a beverage of your choice and let's talk Fright Night. Okay, so Fright Night 2, starring Roddy McDowall and William Ragsdale from the previous movie. They are reprising their roles of Peter Vincent, fearless vampire slayer, and oh my God, William Ragsdale. He played, I just looked this stuff up a second ago. Charlie Brewster, respectively. And these are the only two people reprising the roles from the previous movie. One good thing about this movie, or there were many, if you take a lot of horror movies, especially the vampire ones, like you take a look at the old Hammer ones with Christopher Lee, they'd always find a way to bring back the original vampire, like Dracula. It'd be, so Christopher Lee's Dracula would be killed by Peter Cushing, Van Helsing, at the end of the movie, or whoever it is that killed him. The next movie, they'd find a way for him to come back, which, cool. But with this one, it didn't happen that way, which I thought was a good decision. So what they're doing, excuse me, with this movie is you have Charlie Brewster, who has gone to college. I think it's in the same town. And he is dating a new girl, played by Tracy Lynn. And he's going to therapy because of the events previously. And he has convinced himself that it wasn't real. You have Peter Vincent, played by Roddy McDowall, back doing Fright Night. And the characters are now 180. Peter Vincent is the believer in the vampires. He's like, oh, they're real. And Charlie has convinced himself they aren't real. And they really haven't been spending a lot of time together because of, it'd be bad for Charlie to be around the guy. And while he's in college, he's looking out his window, as he does, sees a limo pull up, and this really exotic woman gets out, and he sees, I don't know if it's later that night or the next night, he sees her doing the same thing. In the first movie, she's biting somebody, and he's like, oh, shit, vampire, and goes to Peter Vincent and to do the stuff, and she convinces them, everybody, that she is a performance artist. So Charlie goes back to his, okay, yeah, it's just I was delusional and all that. And we find out that she is an actual vampire. And the reason she's going after these two, and I'm doing this just for the review, this was Jerry Dandridge's sister. So she is after them to make them pay for what they did in the previous movie. And I like what they did, because there's still the connection in this movie, so it's not this outrageous stretch of, running into two separate types of vampires, that had nothing to do with each other. I mean, how often would that happen, if they're playing this in a semi-realistic way? And they had more people in this. They had a driver who was, I don't know who the actor is who plays, I don't know his name, but you've seen him in all sorts of movies. He played the bad guy in Cobra. He's been in a whole bunch of movies. And his little shtick was he'd eat bugs. Go along and he'd see a bug and he'd give the Latin name of it and eat it. They had another guy who plays another, character actor who was kind of like a werewolf / vampire type of guy. And then this kind of androgynous vampire on roller skates, which is really weird, who never spoke. But they were all together, and things just moved along at a good pace. It had the same humor from the first movie, had a good kind of a creepy factor to it, and in the movie world, in its universe, it made sense. You weren't sitting there going, "Oh, wait a minute, come on, what's this all about?" They're breaking their own rules. It was a good sequel, which you don't find all that often. And I thought the girlfriend in this one was a lot better. Amanda Burst's character in the first one, who I found rather unpleasant. This woman was a lot more supportive, a lot more of an interesting character, and she reacted better to these things. And of course, she was going to be a skeptic at first, but so I think a lot of the side characters were more developed in this one, and the relationship between Peter and Charlie was expanded upon, and it just showed that they'd got to be friends. And no matter how strained it was at the beginning, they worked well together, and all three of them actually cared about each other, which was good. I think this movie was a lot better than what people thought, what people say it was. I mean, it's not as great as the original, but it's close. It was enjoyable. It wasn't those movies where the sequel was horrible just because, they were, let's try and cast it on the name of it. They put some effort into it and they wrote it well. And, it was worth the time to watch. So I'm going to give this a 4.25 out of 5 and just say, if you enjoyed the first one, watch the second one. It's just as entertaining. It's entertaining. Not quite as good, but that won't be a problem. I mean, you'll still enjoy it. So 4.25 out of 5. And just enjoy your vampire movie. Anyway, like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy.